Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, Papa, don't you blow your top.
They can show you where these things are stored.
Right.
They already broke it. Oh, we're coming this way.
They broke them badly. Okay. You're over there. I have a little picture of inside the airplane. Did you get a chance, both of you get a chance to look inside the cabin?
I've been on a flight, so I mean, I know what it looks like, but...
Okay. You know, when you go in, there's some elevated seats in there. Okay? Okay. Behind each elevated seat is one of these tow bars. See? This tow bar, which is the end that hooks into the airplane, hooks into the airplane, is on the right side. That obviously is on the left. See red painted on the end, red painted on this end. Okay. The red faces towards the rear. Red rear. Okay. So when you walk in, you will see the business ends of both. Okay. When they're strapped in, both ends are strapped in. You will take and undo the straps totally. Go underneath and find the other end of these things and undo the other. Come back out. Grab either one of the tow bars. Pick it up. Walk into the doorway. Put it on the floor so the red end sticks out. Do the same with the other. Walk down the steps, grab them and pull them down. Don't try to walk down the steps with these things because they're heavy. Okay? And you're going to take and learn only one person on the steps at a time. You, customers, anything. Only one. All right. So, you're bringing the tow bars up here. You're going to lay them down in this order. That hooks up into the tow vehicle. This into the aircraft. Okay. This is a push to remove type thing. You can see it. It won't come out. Push the button, and it comes out. Okay. So let's take and put these things together. You're going to take and work as a team. And so the two of you, why don't you go first if you don't mind? And then, you notice I had them going in opposite ways, and that is the way you're going to take and reassemble it too. Okay. Now, folks, as soon as I get done with these two, then we'll take the next group. Okay? Okay. You got to keep the button down, which you are, okay, and just take and give some serious wiggles. There you go. Now lean this way towards me. Not so easy. Okay, that's great. Okay, now I'm going to demonstrate putting in the tow bar. Let it down, please. I'm going to demonstrate putting the tow bar in. We're going to use you as a two-man team, but when you're out there, you're only going to be one of you doing this. There's a good chance only one of you are going to be doing this. Push it in.
Push it in?
Yeah, I want you to do this. Okay? You can push it in on the ground. It's okay. Pretty difficult to take and hurt it. Okay? Now, this is the way you're going to come down here. Try to get pretty even with it. Pick it up. See? Brace yourself in the elbow. Now, at this point, push it in, turn it. Okay? Try to take it out. You can't. In, turn it. Okay? Okay? Don't drop it on your fingers, because we're going to get blood all over us. Okay? Now, I'm going to take and mess up the alignment because it's not going to be aligned when you do it.
Right.
There you go.
Oh.
It's heavy.
Yes.
Prop up your arm with your elbow. Just like this. Got it, girl. Okay. Push it in, twist it, push it in and twist. the other way.
Oh, that way?
You got it. Try to pull it out now. Won't pull out, will it? Take it out now. Good girl. Don't let it drop on you. You did it. Just pull it back. I want you to take it apart. You take it apart. You're putting a lot of pressure on that. Just kind of let it down. Just take your hand out from underneath it. All right. Okay. A lot easier.
There we go.
Pull it apart. Okay. Switch positions, please. Okay. You're up. Okay. No, I'm
Oh, okay.
push it back, guys.
The other thing you need to remember is contact the FD is always there watching the front. So you got two eyes on him.
Don't drop it on your face.
So he's the one probably going to panic before you.
Okay. Take it apart, please. The stowing of this tow bar is just the reverse of getting it. Literally, you'll take these two sections, you'll lay them up there on the floor, get up into the aircraft, and then you'll just take it. Remember again, which side does this go on?
Outside.
The right side and this?
Left.
Obviously the left. Red goes for rear. Okay? All right. You did it. You give me your paperwork.
That'll go well on the video.
I imagine he probably sings too if he's prodded.
I've heard my own singing. I don't do that to other people. Thank you. I sing so bad when I try to sing in the shower, the water stops.
I didn't know he was that bad. Whoa.
Thank
There
you.
go. Thank you.
The rotary phone, it's coming back. It will be back one of these days. Okay, just a brief. Everything on the aircraft, on every aircraft, is from the pilot's seat. If it's four engine, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, from left to right. The tires are 1, 2, 3, 4. Not left outboard or right inboard. 1, 2, 3, 4.
That runoff, I'm supposed to be watching the engine.
Number three wheel, number three
After the runoff,
brake assembly is leaking.
move on to things.
You know, there's only things I specify. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Same thing
From left to right?
Yeah.
left to right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Same. What's up, Rudy?
Sorry, missed it.
No,
You just started?
We're just starting. Just giving you a basic introduction here on numbers. Engine 1, 2, 3, 4 from left to right. Everything from the pilot seat, left to right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tires 1, 2, 3, 4. All the way across. Left side, right side. Everything according to the clock. Straight ahead of the pilot, that's 12 o'clock. 10 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Just standard operation. Here, what we're going to do, the instructions say you should stand about 30 feet in front of number 3 engine. Well, 30 feet in front of number 3 engine, you can't really see the co-pilot, who you're going to give signals to, and he's going to give signals to you. Actually, let's go a little over. This is about 30 feet. Stand a little further out, so you can look at the cockpit. Standard hand signal. We don't have an interphone system on this yet, because we don't get power until all the engines are running and he throws the switch. So everything is hand signal. If you're going to be fire guard, muffs, earplugs, something. It gets noisy. Everything is basic safety. Stay away from those spinning propellers. Just don't. Stay away. Number 1. You look at the guy in the co-pilot seat in the flight cockpit. Someone's over there. Give him that. You're okay. You're okay on the ground. Thumbs up. Clear to start the engine. In front of 3, he's going to start. He's going to crank the engine. As the engine cranks, he applies the prime through the carburetor into the engine to start it up. You're going to look for a stream of fuel coming down. Let me show you where the fuel comes down. Fuel comes out a little shiny one.
Oh, yeah.
That's a drain, that's a sump. Comes out of there, coming down.
Wow.
And this is, when you see that, and you're up front there, you're giving him the okay to start.
Yeah.
We've got fuel.
Immediately, yeah.
Thumbs down, we do have fuel.
We have fuel.
Okay.
He's looking at it. Otherwise, he's going to go through the starting procedure, and it's not going to start because he don't have fuel.
Yeah.
This is the prime. An old-fashioned car, you had a choke. Everything's automatic these days. So in any event, the fuel comes dripping down. Stay away from the oil. This is the only time you will ever walk by a propeller. Everything, walk around. Stay away. They can start up. They can crank over. Where the white float? Excuse me, just one moment. But Bob and Nick, they will help.
Okay. One of the things that you have as a fire guard is one of the things that usually happens is you have the local fire department wants to come out and watch. So they're usually behind you, but you still need to have your extinguisher out here, especially as you're starting. Difference between this plane and the 29 is the 29 has a live headset. Our headset does not operate during engine start. So you'll be out here with your earplugs in from your own personal ones, or bring the headset out to cover your ears during it. First thing you want to do is you're going to start number 3 engine, but both of the pilots will see you. So if you're up right here, only the co-pilot can see you, especially when Al is flying as the pilot in command. He wants me out here almost in front of engine 4, so I can see Al and him out here, and I can still see this engine. Okay? I normally set it down there and let it go, and then the first thing you do is you start with your hand in the air once it's clear, and then you give them a cranking signal. Okay? And then he says starting number 2, and the flight engineer will be out at the top, and he'll be watching too. So then you give them a thumbs up. If anything gets in behind you, just stop them, tell them wave at them, let them know that it's not clear anymore. Some sort of non-standard thing, because they're looking for this. If you do anything else.
By the way, that's all.
Yes. If you see fuel starting to come down, Then you give them the thumbs down, indicating that it does have fuel flow. 3 out of 4 times, I don't see fuel flow before it cranks out. So I'm always up like this. And then once they're ready and the engine's running, I take my hand down and I reposition out here. And I try not to stand in front of each one of the engines. I will move back here, offside a little bit, so I can still see them. Put the fire extinguisher down, give him a thing like this. He will sit there and say, number 4, number 3, the Cobalt will do that, and then you'll give them a thumbs up, and they'll start. Sometimes they'll just stay there, and as long as it's still clear, you just sit there and until it cranks over. Usually, you'll have white smoke coming out of these all the time when they start up, especially if they've been sitting there for overnight or during the day. If it's a second flight, you don't always get as much smoke as you do on the first one. Watch that. Once the engine's running and stabilized, then you pick the fire bottle up and go over to engine 2. That's the inboard engine over there. You do the same thing over there, see both of the pilots, give them a thumbs up, crank the thumbs up, that sort of thing. And once that engine starts, then you go out to number 1 and position yourself about this position off of number 1. Do the same thing, crank, thumbs up. Once everything's going, then as soon as you get the pilot's attention, you tell him, you wave to him, like this. You say, I'm going this way. And he'll say yes, and he'll reduce the throttles on that engine so it doesn't blow you away as you take the fire bottle back in and put it up on the side in the back. This one is right inside the back door. As you come up inside, it goes right there. And in some cases you'll have a ground person that you're doing, so you'll stay on the headset back there, hand the fire bottle to them. They'll pull the chops, you put them in, and then the fire bottle will come back up after he's done that. And once both those engines are done, the fire bottle, once all the engines are started, the fire bottle's in, then you can pull the door up.
One comment on that is whenever you're going back, giving the signal so you reduce the RPMs down, you want to make sure that you walk all the way around.
Yeah, go on the outside.
No shortcuts, don't ever. In fact, it's a good thing to get into even whenever you're out here. You know these things in the spark runs. Make it a habit. Any place then it just becomes automatic.
If you need to fight a fire, what will happen is usually they will feather the engine, pull the throttle off, they then run the hail on if it's really bad up there, and then you sit there and wait until they tell you to use the fire extinguisher. Usually the fire is on the ground because of all the fuel that's down there. So you want to aim the fire extinguisher and make sure you press it with one hand and use the other hand to shoot with, and aim that for the fire that's on the ground. You can't do very much on the engine. You have about 3 minutes in this fire box, and that's about it.
One thing about walking around the props, after an engine lands, they shut it off, a cylinder can cook off. It's got the gas, if it's hot enough, it'll pop and the prop can jump. So it's got 5 or 10 minutes before you want to be around the prop if you're going to walk around it. But it's a good practice to stay away from it at all times. Because they'll
Even when
cook
it's on
off.
static display, I don't like to walk
No,
in between.
it's just a habit. I don't walk around them and stay clear.
When they feather, like this thing number 3, they feather it, the prop then comes to a stop,
It should.
but you should really not walk through that.
Don't
So
do
walk
a thing
around.
until the co-pilot tells you what to do.
Okay.
And he's not going to put you there until it stops turning.
Yeah. And the flight engineer will be on top anyway, panicking. And so you let him panic, and you just stay nice and calm out here. And once they tell you, then you go to it.
You want to direct the flames away from the plane? Is that, I mean, so if number 3, you got a fire on the ground, you want to get inside of it, or does it matter?
Use your best judgment.
Okay.
And make sure the fire department's called and let them fight the fire.
Gotcha. Okay.
You're more of a safety background than you are. You're really not going to have to fight any fires.
Yeah.
But if you have to, then use your best judgment at the time and go for the base of the fire if you can.
A lot of times, the fire trucks from the airport, they like to come out and show off their gear and impress people with their macho whatever. And so they're out there. But the last thing you want them to do is if you have a backfire and you get some flame out the back of the engine, and we're going to suck it back in, you don't want them hosing it down. They're familiar with jet engines. They're not familiar with big round engines.
Right.
So they see fire, water, foam, and that's the last thing we want if we're going to suck it out.
Yeah. If it's a minor fire, the pilots will normally keep the engines turning because it will blow the fire out. Okay, and then they'll look at it. The flight engineer will make a decision.
And you get some exhaust pops
Sure.
that'll pop flame out.
Sure.
And it happens. It's pretty common. But you know, those are, just wait for them to tell you that.
Okay. I did have a fire department follow me out to the end of the runway. What are these guys doing? Are they seeing something I'm not seeing in the back? And they're sitting there following us out. I just want to take pictures. Okay.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm sitting here. Well, I don't know about it.
Yeah, it's scary.
I got a, oh, sorry.
Communicate with pilots.
Okay.
Always address them pilot, scanner, and then tell them what he can brief. Don't make it very long. Go ahead.
Okay, my question is on the prop position that you have on right now. When do you do that, or do you ever do it at all? Just leave it alone?
We don't. The
Okay.
flight engineer
Oh,
usually does,
okay.
but sometimes we will
Okay.
do it, and he'll wait about 15 or 20 minutes after you've shut down.
Okay.
Before you position them straight down.
Okay,
Now,
got it.
I don't like them straight down because people walk into them and they start fingering them and they get the dirty prints all over them. But
okay.
that's the way they do it. Now, the first thing you'll do before you even bring the passengers out is they will pull the engines through. Okay, 6 blades.
Right.
And it'll usually be a team of 3 or 4 people. So you're out there. I always let the pilot start first, or the flight engineer, and then I'll do the second one.
Okay.
So I don't ever have to start it. They'll pull those through, and then they'll be cattywampus because they won't be right where they are. That's the way they know they've been pulled through.
Oh, okay.
And that's to prime the engines. What else is it?
But when you pull it, it puts the oil around.
Yeah, thank you.
But when you're pulling them through, if it comes to a hard spot, wait for a few moments. The compression will go away, and then go ahead and pull through.
Okay.
Don't force it through that compression stroke.
Okay.
You can't.
You have to pull and then
She'll be really good at it because she'll pull it, but you just can't.
Okay.
It's too hard.
Okay.
Any questions?
Any questions so far? You must excuse me, I'm sorry for the interruption. I got a worker coming over to the house, taking care of some honeydews, because I'm here, and he's there. So, just excuse me.
On the passenger briefing, you want to go through everything. If you've got vets, the vets get on first. World War II vet, if they're there, then they get to go up front and sit in front. But you let them have the premier respect, etc. And usually, an applaud for them being having served. You may also get family, someone's dad or brother or mother or whoever was in the war, and they'll tell you about it. They get priority. And listen to them if they want to tell you a story. Stop and listen, because it's stories that their family hasn't heard.
However, if you're up in the cockpit, if you're up doing stuff and you gotta get something done,
can't hear it.
you have to.
Yeah, you can't hear. But I had a pilot from the 24 in Midland telling stories. His wife was in the cockpit, 2 sons and granddaughter. And when I got off, she pulled me down and she says, "I've learned more in the last 45 minutes I have in 70 years married to that man.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of this."
Yeah.
So they'll get real cathartic in the cockpit. They'll tell you things that they have not told family or friends ever.
We had a stag display where a woman came up to me as I was at the back of the plane letting people on and off. That'll be one of your duties too, as scanner. Is you'll have to stand either in the front or the back and monitor people. 5 people at a time on the back. Weight and balance issues. Don't put any more than 5 on. I'll put 6 with 2 kids.
And if it's 5 and they're like this size, no, it's 3.
3 or 4, yeah. Use your best judgment. Only when you're flying and you run them into the tail gunner position, make sure you only have 1 person back there at a time, because what will happen is as they start to walk back, they're real light. They start to do this to the pilots, and they are always sitting there. They know exactly when anybody's back. They can tell.
And what you started saying was on static display. The back of the aircraft is shut off. Okay? If you've got someone whose family member is a tail gunner, exception. You take it down, you let them go back.
Yeah. You kind of wait for everybody else to say, wait.
Yeah. I've had pilots come on board and navigators and others, and they get to do pretty much whatever they want. And if you've got a line of people out there, and you tell them this is a vet that flew one of these in the war, he's going to take a little extra time, and everybody will go, okay, no problem.
If you can, you got somebody that's in the front. Get a hold of one of the pilots that isn't working and say, hey, look, this is a pilot for me. He'll take them up there while you still do your duties. But keep back home. Safety briefing for the passengers. Safety is paramount. That's the first thing that needs to come out of your thing. This plane bites. Okay? So when you grab a hold of stuff, it may touch you. Be very aware of what you're touching. Yellow handles are fine. Use yellow handles. Don't touch the cables above. The pilot's going to come back and throw you out if he does. So we always tell them to be very cognizant of that. During the briefing, as soon as the briefing is done, the pilot's going up, I will make sure I pass out earplugs to everybody, and I'll show them how to do it. How to roll the thing, pull the ear up, and put the plug in that way. Okay?
In my safety briefing, I say, if you see me running, try to keep up.
Yeah. The other thing that I do is always tell them, if we have to deplane rapidly, the primary exit is out the door, and we will all get together at the edge of the plane, 50 feet or so out the edge of the wingtip, and just tell them where you're going to do. And that's not in the briefings, but I let them know that in case there's an emergency, you do it.
Meet at the wingtip.
And someone that's near the back, have them assigned to open the door in an emergency. If you have someone that's down, that's sick, and you're tending to them, you need someone.
Or you're out.
You're busy with something. In an emergency, you might be putting fire out somewhere, and you need someone that's going to open the door. So just show them how to open the door. It's pretty easy. Just turn the knob and let it down.
Not written anywhere, but you'll find out when you're out on tour that you're responsible. The scanner is responsible for the water cooler that's in the front and the big one that's in the back. The one in the front needs ice in it, so every night I take those two with me back to the hotel. I empty them out, and then I put ice in them in the morning, put water in the ones that are up front, because those are for the pilots. And in the back, I'll do the same thing, put ice in it, and then put water, and I always have at least a can of Coke. You need something that's got sugar in it and caffeinated for anybody that may be, diabetic. Okay? If you get anybody that's starting into diabetic shock, give it to them. I haven't had anybody, but I know someone who has.
You guys have somebody who has health problems? I know that can be problematic.
They may or may not want to tell you. Don't count on it.
I say
It's
no.
there. It's just there.
And you bring up a good point. One of the things you want to do is you're getting your passengers, look around, look at their eyes. And a lot of them been out on the tarmac all day, doing the air show thing. Look for signs of dehydration. You start to see that.
Ask them not to eat before they go on board. They don't eat 10 minutes before they're flying. I tried to do that as a ride desk person, but it doesn't always sink in.
And they'll tell you, I never get airsick. You've never been in the back of this airplane. It bounces, it sways, it jumps, it moves. Okay? And so people who have never been airsick may in a heartbeat. So have a bag ready.
My rule is, you get sick, guess what?
You clean up. Well, just like in college. You barf in my car, you clean my car.
One of the things that one of the other groups had asked, and I can't remember whether this one did, so if I'm repeating myself, please help me with this. When, as a scanner, one of the things you're going to have to do during taxi is be up and around in the back and watching out the door, watching the engines, watching out the watch the engines and the tire and make sure we don't run off the side of the taxiway. So you're up there, and as they run the engines up, you need to be back there listening to it and watching the engine.
Like smoke, oil.
And if you see anything that doesn't look right, let them know. Okay? If there's any question, let them know. And then after they do that, then they'll start to taxi on the runway. At that point, you need to do that seat that's right in front of the tailbone spot. Sit down there. Strap in. One of the things you may have to do, including specifically you, will probably have to help everybody with their seat.
Why specifically me?
The guys love you.
Oh, okay.
Only because you're a man. But you may have to help everybody. There's two types of seat belts in here. There's the airline seat belt and then the military seat belt. And not everybody knows how to do that. So before you be going, you want to make sure that everybody's fastening their seat belt. And then after we get airborne, you'll have to get up again too. But you'll have to come up and tell the navigator to move and start rotating. 2 minutes in the tail. If you don't do it, you won't get everybody through it. 2 minutes.
20, 25-minute flight.
12 people.
12 people times 2.
If you get us in a position, you get in a position where we don't have full 12 passengers, we can run with 8. We can run with 8, 9, 10, or 11, or 12. Push everybody as far forward as possible. Leave the back seats empty. That keeps the center of gravity forward.
Okay. The CG in the airplane is about 12 inches. It's a real small CG. I have a glass air, and it's 2 feet. And my plane fit under this. It's a box system.
It is box, but we use push to talk.
But because it's box, you got to start off with it.
Right. You give yourself a little bit of a delay. Okay, so don't start talking before you hit the button. Hit the button and stop. And then start talking. You hear yourself. It's called side sound. You hear your voice in the headset. You know, okay, I'm on the air, I'm able to speak. And try, usually, I'll say, in the pilot. Okay, so he knows who's calling and that he's supposed to respond.
The young fella up on top of the room, U.S. Air Force, tech sergeant, and he works Air Force One. He's going to the squadron. He was here last year, the year before, when Air Force One was being painted. We were out at Beecham, and he was part of that maintenance group. Him and his buddy Jermaine.
This is a little different than Air Force One, right?
Yeah.
It takes a different gas to fuel.
Smaller.
This is what Truman was on.
This is a little Cucaracha compared to it.
Yeah.
And other than that, safety. If you got a fire, you notified him, fire. And he tells you go ahead, you shut his engine down, bring your fire extinguisher, basic flame, keep putting it up into the engine because the fuel's cooling down. If there's a fire inside the engine, the engineer is up on top, he's looking, the co-pilot's out there, he's looking, they'll discharge the halon, put it out that way.
It's more effective because it's inside.
And it's contained in the cowling. That's about it. Any questions?
Has anyone gotten up there and tried to use the restroom? Has that ever happened? I'm curious.
On the last checkout ride, I was in the bombardier seat of the 29. Perfect seat. And about 2/3 of the way through the training flight, I said, "Oh crap! I gotta get this thing up." Crawl back through the tunnel. Lost my seat in the back, in the front. But
No, we don't use the torpedo tube back there, the relief tube.
You basically just tell them to hold it then.
You hold it,
Okay.
And Angie had the problem. She had somebody who was out the window. She couldn't find the box.
you should have them in your lower
I
pocket.
keep them in my jacket or my flight suit. I keep them for myself and for anyone else.
Keep them in the bottom.
But other
Because
than
anything you
that,
put in the bottom pocket is a pain in the neck.
between Bob, Larry, and Nick, we're getting a greater overview of everything that's happening here and what you got to do. Everything is safety. careful. See all the oil there? These things, just like Fifi, is always leaking, so be careful. Because you'll never get the oil out of your shirt.
Actually, there's a YouTube on getting oil like that out of your clothes, and there's about 4 steps you do. It's baking soda, it's carburetor cleaner, it's 4 or 5 things. You do this, you do this, you do this, and you do this. And they had oil in a white smock, and they went through all the steps. And each step is a little more, and so each one does a little different. But bottom line is, I have oil on my jumpsuit, and probably have oil on the shirt in some places. Or I have lunch in it.
And if that doesn't work, buy a new flight suit.
I have a question. Dealing with footwear, since I'm such a diehard on Red Wing and safety shoes, what do you recommend for something that's going to be oil resistant and won't cause no slip when you're walking around? I was watching a gentleman up there and went to squat down to check the fuel, and I noticed his foot was sliding back on him. Is there any type of footwear that you recommend?
Not that I'm aware of. It's a good quality. Normally tennis.
These are oil slip resistant. I generally wear.
Diamond Lil's actually is both a B-24 and an LB-30 transport plane. So you see right here we have a cargo door that's in this spot right here. Normally in a B-24 we wouldn't have a cargo door. This plane here was originally built as a B-24 A model. It was the 18th aircraft on the assembly line, the 25th Liberator produced out of all the Liberators that were produced, over 18,000 of them. What happened with this plane is that it was originally going to be given to the French, but then Paris fell, so we gave it to the British as part of the Lend-Lease program. And the British had some airline pilots come over to get training from TWA. TWA is the one that was doing the contract work. Well, they came over and they did some flight training with the plane. They had a landing incident where the right landing gear locked up on them. The plane spun off the runway and actually collapsed the landing gear, and it also smashed up the bomb bay doors. So Consolidated took the plane back. They used it. It couldn't be used as a bomber anymore, but what they did is they converted it to an LB-30, which is a transport plane. That's why we have a transport door. And it served out the war, transporting men and materials between the 5 Consolidated Liberator planes during World War II. That's how Diamond Lil served in the war. And she is a warbird. That's how she served in the war. So you'll notice she doesn't have bomb bay doors, because they converted it into a transport. However, we also want to show the way the bomb bays would look. So we do have bomb racks in there and dummy bombs as well, so you can see how the plane would look. And if you take a look right above you here, this is actually the fuel cell of the David's wing. That you're looking at right there. So Diamond Lil has actually gone through 3 different paint schemes in the CAF's history. Well, actually 4 to count when we got her originally from Pemex, which was the corporate color scheme, and she painted her just white for the CAF. Then they painted her in a pink paint scheme, which was the desert color scheme, and she had a Diamond Lil nose art at that time. And then, I don't remember the exact years, but about 5 or 6 years ago, we did some more restoration work to make it back to an A model, putting the glass back on the front, which we'll show about in just a minute. And at that time, she was painted in the camouflage coloring right now, but it was renamed Bull 927. 927 is the serial number of this aircraft, and she came off the assembly line. However, everybody in the warbird community knew her as Diamond Lil. So a couple of years ago, we commissioned some work with Gary Gillespie, a very famous warbird nose art artist, and Diamond Lil has been reborn, and that's where she is today.
Yeah, they would have got it up with that.
That's Crew Chief Rick. Hi, Crew Chief Rick.
Hi.
See?
Hi.
So this is the A-model glass again, and during the war they actually put on a different nose for this plane because they were testing various configurations of the Liberator model during the war. So this plane has had a lot of modifications done to it by Consolidated during the war. And we've been working where we can to put the plane back as close as possible to an A model is what she was when she left the factory. Some things we can do, some things will cost too much money. A couple of years ago, we also had a
Well, if it's been discharged, you know, when that head fires,
all the
just a little bit of pressure will blow the little bit of pressure.
aluminum work right here has all been redone. We were fortunate enough to have a lot of volunteers that have helped get this airplane flying again. She's all in good shape now. We have a neutrality flag here because this plane is painted up as it should have been in 1941, prior to the United States entering World War II. So we flew a lot of aircraft, and we want to make sure that the American flag was on there to signify that, hey, this is an American aircraft, don't shoot us down. We are neutral in the war. Officially, we were neutral in 1941 before Japan bombed Pearl Harbor. Along with that, at that time, our symbol had the red dot in the middle of our white star in the blue circle. Now, after Japan bombed Pearl Harbor and we declared war on Japan, we didn't want them to get confused with the red dots of the Japanese insignias on their planes. So we got rid of the red dot in there and we just made a solid star. So this plane is still built to represent, or painted to represent, pre-1941 colors. So that's why it's got the red dot. And then this is the Air Transport Command logo. So again, because this was actually the prototype for LB-30, Consolidated did make some LB-30 models, which were transport models throughout the war as well, and they were operated by the Air Transport Command as part of the U.S. Army Air Services. So we have this logo on the plane as well to honor those men and women that flew the LB-30. So there you go.
Pinned up right now before you get ready to take off. The flight engineer will tell you go ahead and pin up the pogo. So you'll pin it. We'll show you that when we go back. Did somebody already show you down there?
No.
Okay. We'll show you that when we go down. You always want to make sure that that's pinned up. Okay. You'll fold up the black stair that's down there. You'll put the feet against the wall back here. This little bungee. Then you'll hook it back in before you would take off for a ride flight.
Okay.
Okay. Then you're gonna, once everybody's on board and they're starting the engines, you'll always watch your engine starts. They'll start here first. You'll watch from this window. Great view here. When you come to this side, you got somebody here, but you can kind of stand up and watch these windows here. You're watching for smoke. Anything that, dripping off, blue smoke, you call on your headset, hey, I see, such and such on number 1, 2, whichever it is. Okay. Or the other thing is too, you're going to leave your door open. You can watch from right here as well when they start up. Okay. So after the engines are started, I think this is the new checklist here. Then you're going to close your door. I don't know if it actually says here. Parking brake. Okay, everybody is seated. Once everybody is seated, let's kind of do this in order. Okay. We'll go ahead and do the pogo. So your pogo's down when it's on the ground, so that it won't tip back. So you'll go to the pogo, you'll go up, you'll just push it up because it'll say pogo up.
Did you say it's up or down right now?
It's pinned up on on the ground. You'll want to make sure that it's pinned up, but then once everybody's seated, then you're going to want to go ahead and put the pogo up.
Okay.
So and then you'll have lights here when they are starting everything here.
Okay.
So you'll push it up to the up position. It's kind of hard to push up. There you go. And then this right here, just start pumping. Always just keep feeling.
Okay.
Start pumping. You'll feel it. You'll probably be 20, 25 pumps, maybe.
Am I doing it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just keep pumping and pumping. The closer it gets, it's going to get harder and harder. When it gets to the top, you'll hear it slam against the body of the plane. That's when you know it's light will also come on when it's up. Okay, heard that?
Was that it?
Okay, yep.
Okay.
And see how hard it is right
Yeah.
there? Okay. So we'll kind of take you back to landing once they've, shut the engines down. You're always watching your checklist here for when the pogo will come down. We'll go ahead and put it down because you always want to be very, very conscious of where that is all the time. When you're back here, always think pogo, pogo. You never want the plane to come down on the tail. Okay. So the engines are shut down. You can see on the checklist where you're supposed to put it down. They'll come over, put that down, and then just start pumping down. Same thing. It doesn't make any noise when it's coming on the downside. You'll know when you get down there, you won't be able to push it any more further down, and you'll see the light will come on. It's, red to be done.
There we go.
Okay. All right. So you're good there on the pogo. Then let's do the door. The most important thing on the door is watching that handle. You can go ahead, pull up on here. Okay. Okay, notice where the pins are. You want to bring that side there?
The pins?
Yeah. This is the most important thing. I'm just going to show you this here first.
Okay.
See how the pins are out, the handle's across? You always want to make sure that the pins are up before you close the door. I don't know if you heard them when they were talking down there below. The reason that we have it down like this on the ground, when people are coming up and down, it was always something that people were catching their feet on. So this is really the thing to watch when you go to close it. Okay, so you want to make sure the pins are in. You pull it up, just pull it tight, pull it to you, and push down. Okay. And then to release it, push in, turn the handle up, and grab your straps. It's on the hydraulic system with it. You want to try closing it?
Okay.
If you have to, use both of them at the same time and go.
Yeah, I hate to slam it though.
I've got little arms.
Huh?
But I've got little arms, but I'm gonna.
There you go. Alright.
Did I get it?
Yep, and you'll know, see how feel the door?
Yeah.
You're snug. Okay, push it in.
Oh, hold on, I've got to tangle over here.
Alright, there you go. Okay. Alright, let's do the gun. You'll unstrap it here.
Okay.
This is very, very heavy in flight. Yeah. You got 170-mile-an-hour wind coming through the window. Once you unhook there, I always bend it down. Okay. Then you'll unhook the pin right here. It's a push pin. You push down on that top. You pull up. Okay. Then you want to just walk it over. Both hands. Walk it over. Always holding on to it. This has to line up. Very tricky when you're bouncing around back here. Push your pin in, goes down through the hole. Make sure it's in.
Okay.
Once you try to go, you can unhook it
that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Walk it back over.
And he said it was easier, like if you set it somewhere.
Can. I mean,
What's easiest for you?
I hold on to it. I always have one hand kind of around the handle. I think it's always easier to me. It's always easier to handle it like this.
Okay.
Then you can I kind of step back and just walk it right over. Because, it's gonna try to move a lot. You want to make sure, what you don't want is for it to get away from you. When you come out this way, it's gonna that barrel's gonna want to slap against the side here. You want to try to not let it beat up there. Yeah,
It's staying there very well though.
There when
it goes.
you pull it up,
Okay.
yeah. So then you put that in, and then go ahead and put that up in the area and hook it up there. When you're doing a ride flight, once the captain tells you the people can get up and unhook, I don't know if you've looked at the manual. You usually have a veteran picked out ahead of time when you talk to them on the ground. You let the veteran sit up in front across from the FE in the navigator seat. You'll go up to the front and bring him back to here. A lot of times I let the veteran kind of help you bring the gun out. They get a kick out of experiencing that with you. You put the gun out, then from here you start your rotation. They'll go to the gun station, and he'll go to the tail swing. The other 4 people that are sitting up in the bomb bay, once that navigator comes back, you tell them to one at a time. They go up to the pilot station, get their picture made, look at the cockpit up there. Then you tell them to come back. So you kind of get this rotation. You get those 4 coming back, circling around. These 4, you can tell them to come down and go up to the front, to the pilot station, and you kind of just, keep them moving around. When you're on the ground doing your pilot briefing, you kind of try to assess the mobility of some of the folks, the ones that aren't as mobile. I always have them sit back here across in the bin area here. The people that start sitting up in the bomb bay area, you tell them, once they've gone to the pilot and they've come back here, then you have them sit up over the wing section right here. The people that start out, take off up in the wing section, after they've gone to the front, experienced all that, then they sit in the bomb bay area for landing. That way it gives them a different, viewpoint. They can all experience, the plane from front to back. It's about 2 minutes at each station, 2 minutes up at the pilot, 2 minutes back here, 2 minutes back in the tail swing. It's a lot to keep, 12 people going in, a short amount of time. You got about 20 minutes to let them, all mingle around and get through the aircraft. Make sure you're back on your headset, looking at the in-range checklist, making sure you're set for the end.
That's it. Yay!
He was a famous trumpet man from out Chicago way. He had a boogie style that no one else could play. He was a top man at his craft. But then his number came up and he was gone with the draft. He's in the army now, a blowin' reveille. He's the boogie woogie bugle boy of Company B. They made him blow a bugle for his Uncle Sam. It really brought him down because he couldn't jam. The captain seemed to understand, because the next day the cap went out and drafted the band. And now the company jumps when he plays reveille. He's the boogie woogie bugle boy of Company B.